What's good, everybody? It's Mike Reed, and welcome to My Life Ministries, where leadership, influence, faith, and evolvement are the principles that we look to live by every single day of our life. And by us living those principles, it helps us to help youth to become motivated young leaders to implement faith every day in their lives as well. Don't let your, don't let the how, the why, and the when be the questions that you have for God. It's very important that we understand that. Don't let the hows, don't let the why, and don't let the when, be the questions that you have for Him. Whenever we get to the mindset to where we feel like we have to ask Him that, that shows that our trust in Him is, in a way, it's failing us. It's showing that our faith in Him, in a way, is lessening. It shows that that our thoughts are being consumed, with our circumstances. It shows that, our lifestyles are, the things that we go through, the adversities, the problems, that we go through are literally taking over our thought process. And as they take over our thought process, they're beginning to take over our life. And when they begin to take over our life, we become a part of what we begin to believe, which is that things aren't going to work out the way that they're supposed to, or we begin to look at the reality of what it is that we actually see in front of us, and we lose track of, the verse in the Bible that it says that we walk by faith and not by sight. And understanding that if we continue to keep our mindset and continue to keep our eyes on the sight of things, then we're going to lose every single time, because it's a faith walk. The journey that we are on with God is a faith walk. That's exactly what it is. No matter how we look at it, a lot of times we feel like when we're walking with God that adversities and problems that we face aren't going to come against us, because we're like, Lord, I trust you, and Lord, I believe in you. So why am I going through this? Or, how, am I supposed to make it through this? Or when am I going to get out of this? Or when are you going to show up? There's so many things that you can put behind those three words, and the more that we begin to put things behind those three words, the more that we find ourselves being sunk into this place that we don't need to be in. Instead of that, we need to begin to prophesy to these things, and let them know, like, my God will provide, my God will show up. Jehovah Jireh is my provider. Jehovah Nisi, is my victory. Jehovah Shalom, he is my peace. We need to begin to speak those things, and we need to begin to believe in who our God is and who we serve. When God takes you on a journey in your life, and He takes you on a path in your life, when you're going through situations that are literally so heavy to you, you need to understand that God, He's allowed you to go through that so that He can stretch you, so that He can test your faith, so that He can see, are you going to trust me when you're up? Or are you going to trust me when you're down? Are you only going to hold my hand when things look right? Or are you going to hold my hand at the same time, when things look bad? But bottom line is, God wants us to trust Him. God wants us to continue to believe in Him. God wants us to continue to know that He's going to show up, and not allow our mindset and not allow our vision to see things the way that the world shows us things. So what if you have things that are due? So what if your bank account is low? So what if you don't have any money? So what, if you're looking for a job? So what if you're going through things, in your marriage? So what if you're going through things in your children? So what if you're going through things in your life that are literally, and they look like everything is falling apart? So what? And the reason why I say so what is because you can be bold enough to stand in that area of saying, so what, I'm going through all of this, because you know that God's going to show up. And the way that God shows up is because He attaches Himself to your faith. And when you have faith in Him, God will show up according to His will. And it's important that you understand that according to His will, anything that is inside of the will of God, God will show up. But if it's outside of the will of God, God will give you direction of how to either remove yourself from it, how to either navigate away from it, or, he'll just pull you out of that situation. But whatever it is that you are going through in your life, whatever you do not question God with how. Do not question God with why. Do not question God with when. Because we just have to know that, Lord, I trust you no matter what. If you brought me to this, then you're going to bring me through this. You wouldn't allow me to be in the situation or place me in the situation to where you're not going to show up, or place me in the situation to where you're not going to reign supreme in this area of my life. We have to be bold with our faith. We have to be bold in our faith. We have to be true in our love. We have to be true in the direction. We have to be true in obedience. We have to be true in following God. And it's that simple. And we have to make sure that we tap into the Spirit of God so that God can guide us and God can direct us. It's time for us to get out of that old system and get out of that old way of thinking that every time you go through something in your life, you allow the enemy to bring heaviness and you allow the enemy to consume you. Don't let the enemy consume you, because no matter what it is that you face, God never changes. His ways never change. God is God. The same that he was yesterday is the same that he is today. God does not change. So just because you wake up in the morning and God kisses you on your cheek and he decides to say, I'm going to give you another day. And he says, all I want you to do is focus on today. I don't want you to focus on yesterday, because you can't get yesterday back. And I don't want you to focus on tomorrow, because tomorrow's not here. So I want you to focus on what I have for you today. And what I have for you today, it may be I need you to be still. It may be I need you to get deeper into your word. It may be I want to spend more time with you. Whatever God has for you, whatever his agenda is for you today, we have to be in tune so that we can hear what God is speaking to us on today. And we also have to remember that there is an adversary, that there is an enemy that is out there that is lurking. He's lurking to control your mind. He's lurking. He's ready to. So at the same time that God kisses you on your cheek to wake you up, getting ready to prepare you and start you on the day that he has planned for you, the enemy is standing right there, because he's waiting for that little crack just for you to just think about yesterday, just for you to think about your situation, just for you to think about the things that you need and the things that you want and all of these different things that are going on in your life. He's waiting for you to think like that so that he can whisper in your ear, yeah, you think that you can trust in God? You still got bills due. You still going through all of this bitterness and this anger and this anger and this, and this hate. You still going through all of these things. So how are you going to trust in God? God, what are you talking about? You believe in him, you're going to pray to him, and you still have all of these situations that you're facing in your life. And then he puts it on your mind to where he wants you to think of ways how you can fix it, how you can handle it, because he wants you to think on self. He wants you to think with flesh and think that you can fix and handle every situation that's going on in your life. God did not create you to be dependent on yourself. He created you to depend on him. He wants you to depend on him for everything. Your wife is not your source. Your husband is not your source. Your children is not your source. Your job is not even your source. They may be the ones that pay you. Their title may be the one that are on the paycheck. Whatever the case may be, God is your source, because without him, none of that is possible. So we cannot question God when we go through things in our life. God, he will put us in the forefront. God will put us on a plan. He will open up doors. He will bless us. He will allow us to be in a blessed land, and we will be enjoying the land. But just because we're there does not mean that we're not going to face hardship. Does not mean that we're not going to face situations and problems. But the one thing that you got to remember, if you trust God, and if God brought you to this position, he's going to help you get through this position. But we have to believe, and we have to trust in God, and we have to have faith in him. We have to have faith in him and understand that he will show up in his timing, as long as it is according to his will. So whatever you do from now on and this day forward, on this day, lock this in your brain. Don't question God about how, about when, and about why. Just let God do him. Let him be God the way that he knows how to be God. And you just be the person that he's created you to be. And wait on God. Sit with God, rest in God, be still in God, because God has everything under control. But you have to believe that. You guys have a wonderful and a blessed day. and I'll talk to you soon.